Super excited. We've got a fantastic guest on the show with me today. You've probably heard of him. His name is Josef Rakich. He is an online superstar, online trainer. He's amassed a huge following on social media with 3 million fans on Facebook, almost 1 million fans on Instagram, 350,000 fans across YouTube. I think almost 5 million fans in total across social media. Has built a huge online business and is recognized as one of the top online personal trainers on the planet. Josef, great to connect, man. I'm really looking forward to having a chat with you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to share a bit of my story. So I'm looking forward to this podcast.
Cool, man. Hey, I mean, I've followed you for a long time, but where did it all start for you, bro? Like, how did you get into fitness, and specifically, how did you get into or deciding that you were going to build an online business?
So it started a long time ago. So I've always been into sports my whole life. You know, soccer, football, outside skating, touch, literally any type of sport I was into, especially at school. I love PE. But funnily enough, at school when we had weights class, I always forgot my gym clothes. Just because I was a skinny guy in the class, I was 61 kgs. I guess I didn't like lifting weights because, I was a skinny kid, the weakling. So maybe I was a little bit embarrassed, and I just never enjoyed it. But every other sport I loved. So I've always had a sporting background. I was really big into cross country as well. Played soccer for most of my life, skateboarding, all day, every day. But it came to a point, my mum, she actually won a free gym trial. She didn't want it, so she gave that to me. And me and my mates, we went along to the gym for the trial, and we didn't know what we're doing. We're just kind of mucking around, but we saw our mates from school there, and it almost became like a social environment. Mm-hmm. So we kind of just hanging around at the gym. After the 2 weeks, we enjoyed it, so we signed up, and then we started going to the gym here and there. Nothing serious. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know anything about dieting. Didn't know anything about training. We basically just went there and trained chest and biceps every day and chatted. But, even doing that, just because I was so new to the gym, we kind of started to notice, some gains. And then I guess once I saw the gains and I saw my physique changing, that's when I started researching myself, and I got more serious about, what diet should I be following to gain muscle and put on some mass? What kind of training program should I follow? So I started learning more and doing my own research. After I did that own research, I applied that to myself, started going to the gym consistently, following a proper routine, following a proper diet. And once I started doing that, I guess the progress came in a lot faster. And I guess something that was, something that I didn't like or didn't enjoy, it turned into something that I did enjoy. Then it became a hobby. Then it led into my passion. And I guess now it's turned into my career.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. It's funny that you fell into it in that way. I guess everyone falls into the gym in that way, but what is it about fitness that gets you, man? Like there's so many elements to fitness, and people kind of, talk about the physique side of things, and obviously everyone wants to look good, and with that comes confidence and stuff, but there's all these other things as well. There's the mental element of training. It really is a great foundation for personal growth and personal development. What is it that you love about fitness?
Yep, so true. The personal growth and just knowing that you can always better yourself in some way, and you're never finished. Yeah. It's literally a journey that never ends. I guess you can be proud of your physique and proud of where you're at, but you're never going to be fully satisfied. You always are going to want to maybe gain a little bit more muscle, or maybe get a little bit leaner, and it's just a never-ending thing. And I guess it's a process and a journey that you can do for as long as you want to continue progressing and to continue bettering yourself as a person.
Yeah,
and that's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah, I'm the same, man. I think I love the gym. I've had I've worked in that industry, managed the gym, and it's been a huge part of my life ever since I was a teenager. But I've said this in other podcasts. Like I spoke to Dave Latelli, Brown Butterbean, probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and we talked heaps about the mental side of it and what it does in terms of just it gives you an avenue to strengthen yourself mentally every single day, and almost put yourself under stress and adversity so that you put yourself in a situation where you can deal with life better, And for me, that's always been the biggest thing. Obviously we all want to look good, and I'm a sporty dude as well. So I like boxing and athletics, and I love training for something, but the biggest thing for me by far and above is my mental health when I'm training, man. It just puts me in such a better space. It makes me a better person. And it's something that I think is maybe not talked about enough. It's starting to come to light a bit more, but I think like, with COVID and all that sort of stuff and people paying a lot more attention to mental health now, I think fitness is starting to play a different role.
So true. It's definitely the mental aspect of it. When you go to the gym and you leave with, all your endorphins. And if you're feeling good, that translates into all the other areas of your life. So everything else, becomes better as well. So it's definitely a huge thing to do with, your mental health and everything. And it's just a great escape as well. You can kind of escape, you can zone out, and you also learn that the harder you train, the more energy you put into your training, the more effort you give, the better your results are. And when you learn that, when you understand that, then you realize that you can apply that same technique to other things in your life.
Yeah.
The more effort you put into your business, the more energy you put into your business, the better that becomes. I guess I learned that all through the gym.
Yeah, I love that.
Other areas of my life.
Yeah, I love that. I reckon it's one of the most honest things that you can do is like, fitness is one thing. Like in business, sometimes, not very often, but sometimes you can get lucky and you can make money. You can hit things at the right time and have a good idea and execute on it. And there is an element of luck in business. Obviously, across the board over a long period of time, it comes back to hard work and building skill. But with fitness, there's no shortcuts. It is the most honest reflection. And so, like, if you're out of shape, you didn't get there by accident. And if you're in shape, you didn't get there by accident. And so, one of the things, and I think the reason that you walk around with your head held high when you're in good shape is because you've fucking followed through on the promises that you made to yourself consistently, man. And from that comes self-confidence and self-belief. And like, I always say to people as well, like, fitness is a great tool. People lack self-belief. It's like, get in the gym and start doing the things that you said you're going to do for yourself. Start fucking keeping the promises that you make to yourself. And all of a sudden, man, that becomes like a massive upward spiral of positivity.
So true. It just builds that confidence. And when you have that confidence, you're more positive in every other area of your life.
Yeah, I love it, man. When did it become a business for you? Like, at what point did you say, I'm going to make this my career?
Yeah, so I guess at school, I did pretty bad at school, to be honest.
Yeah.
I dropped out of school and I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life. I failed school. The only subject that I did pass was PE because I love sport. But maths and science and all that, I didn't have the attention span to be able to focus enough and to learn it because I didn't enjoy it. But I found the passion for the gym. So I learned about the diet and nutrition because I was passionate about that, but I wasn't passionate about maths or science. So I left school and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I went and worked for my dad. My dad at the time, he owned a food distributing business, distributing food to, restaurants, bakeries and stuff like that. So I worked for him. Most of the time I was working in a freezer packing orders, negative 18 degrees. It wasn't enjoyable at all. But every now and again, I'll be out on the road delivering the food to the restaurants as well. When I was doing that, that's when I, was at the gym training, and I knew that the gym was my passion, and I knew I wanted to do something with the gym. So that's when I thought, I'm going to study to become a personal trainer, and I'm going to become a personal trainer. So I went and studied, got my qualifications, and then I started working in a gym, which was just a local gym by my house. Started training clients one-on-one and, started building my business up in the gym. But at that same time that I was doing that, I was also doing my online training. At this point, I was just starting off. So I was basically just posting my own physique pictures up on bodybuilding.com forums, and people were messaging me there. Hey, amazing transformation. What was your diet like? What was your training program like? So I was helping them through the bodybuilding forums. And it almost got to a point where there was so many people asking me for diet advice and workout advice that I thought, this is a place where I can set up a service and charge for this. So that's what I did. Then later on, I guess social media came around. I started putting videos on YouTube, Facebook.
Because what year was this? Because you were real early to it, man. You were one of the early adopters to social media.
Yeah, I can't remember what year, but it was pretty much the start of when it.
Yeah, it must have been
Start.
2007, 2008, sort of around that time.
Must
You were
have been
pretty early
around then,
on.
yeah. So I started putting all my content up on social media and then advertising my services that I, offer meal plans and workout programs, whatever your goals are. And I guess that started taking off, and it got to the point where the online side of things just got too busy that I couldn't, continue working in the gym because I just didn't have enough hours in the day. So from working 6 days a week in the gym, I went down to 4, then down to 3, then down to 2, and then I completely left the gym and just focused 100% on the online side of things. And when I did that, that's when I went all in and just, truly started creating content and just trying to get more exposure out there in social media.
Yeah, because you've like I said, you were early to the game, and like I always wondered whether that was just that you just started producing content and adding value to people, and it just sort of snowballed from there. Obviously, you're pretty strategic and across social now. Like you run a very good operation across all platforms. You've obviously built a big team and a huge business over the last sort of decade, I guess. What have been some of the biggest learnings in that online space? That's changing really fast. Every trainer now is jumping in online. Obviously, COVID forced a lot of people's hands, and I guess people realized that they're pretty vulnerable if they just had one stream of income, which was the gym floor. And so there's a big transition towards jumping online now, but there's more to jumping online than just necessarily doing a diet and a workout plan. And I think people underestimate how much work it is and how hard it is. So what are some of your biggest learnings and takeaways from your last sort of decade growing in that online space?
Yeah. So I guess the biggest learning is always continue learning and always continue, adapting to whatever the world is, currently vibing with, I guess. So right now, like pretty much everyone on Instagram who's been to the gym is pretty much selling meal plans and workout programs now. So I try and separate myself with that. So I guess I try and put out as much knowledge and as much value as I can. So when people watch my content, they learn, oh, Josef knows what he's talking about. He knows about macros. He knows about protein, carbohydrates, fats, how much calories I should have, etc., etc. So I try and provide as much value so my audience knows that I have knowledge and I can back up what I do. And I try and use that as something to separate myself from everyone else. Mm. And I also believe, the more value that you can give, the more chance of, reaching more people because they share it with more people and then it spreads. And I think a lot of these other online trainers, they don't focus on providing value. They just, post up pictures and be like, hey, get my meal plan, get my workout program. So I always believe in providing value first, giving first, and then, trying to acquire them as a client and help them achieve their goals. But I also think one of the biggest things that has really separated me from, I guess, the other online trainers, and this was a huge learning curve for me, at the start, I never focused on building a community. I was just focused on selling meal plans and workout programs, and it was doing all right. But it wasn't until I started building a community that I truly transformed my business. Once I started creating a community and, creating like a JRF team, a JRF family, my clients joining my private Facebook groups, my clients posting up their transformations, my clients using the JRF results hashtag, the JRF challenge hashtags. It just became a big family. And then it almost started selling itself. Like the community was selling to their friends and their family, and the community was growing my business instead of me just saying, buy a meal plan or workout program. So when I created a community, that's truly when my business took a massive switch.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I guess the power of branding and taking that side of things seriously. Because you've got to build the vehicle, but then you want to empower people to get on that vehicle and invite the rest of the crew, right? And yeah. I think that's obviously something that you've done really well. I mean, you don't get to 5 million followers across social without creating something pretty special that people want to buy into. And I've always been fascinated on how you've gone about that. Is there a platform that you focus on more than others at the moment? Like I know that you're sort of hitting TikTok at the moment. And that's kind of the emerging platform. There's a lot of reach on there compared to like Instagram and stuff at the moment. But YouTube's been a big one for you as well. Do you kind of look at them all evenly now? Or like what's that landscape like in your point of view?
Yeah, so it's very interesting because I believe that it always changes. And every platform has its pros and its cons. So yeah, I put up content everywhere. I try and utilize everything. I believe YouTube is probably the best because YouTube, you put up on Instagram, for example, it's normally just a picture. So if someone's following you, they scroll through their feed and they see a picture, they like it. They see another picture, they like it. They see another picture, they like it. But they don't really engage with you as much. But then if they watch you on YouTube, they're actually taking that time to watch you and get to know you as a person and build a bit more of a relationship for you. So I think YouTube is the most powerful because you can actually build a relationship with the audience.
Yeah.
That's not to say Instagram isn't powerful, it still is, but I think YouTube's number one to really get yourself I always think of it this way: be a YouTuber who has other social media platforms.
Mm.
But I still post up everywhere. So back in the day, so I used to do pretty well on YouTube back in the day, but YouTube for me has I'm not getting the reach that I used to. Facebook used to be very strong a long time ago, and then it went absolutely terrible with reach. They just changed the algorithms and everything. But now Facebook, for some reason, I'm getting crazy reach.
Right.
I'm posting some home workouts up, and they're getting 700 to 900,000 views, in a couple of weeks.
Is that organic views?
Yeah, organic views. And Facebook used to be terrible for me. Like there was a stage where the algorithm just wasn't working for me at all. And I'd struggle to, even reach, 10,000 people. But now YouTube's suffering from me. So they change algorithms all the time. And I'm still trying to figure out why I can't grow on YouTube anymore. Snapchat used to be powerful for me. That used to be my best platform at one time. I used to get, 100,000 plus views on my stories. And I used to sell a lot of people there. Now, Snapchat is absolutely terrible. No one even uses it. And I'm getting, around 20,000 views. But because it's still a platform, I'm still using it every day. I hate TikTok. I'm not a fan of TikTok. But I understand that's where the attention is right now. Everyone's going to TikTok. So I'm not doing any TikTok dances or anything like that. But I'm putting my workout videos up on TikTok because I know there's people there and I know it's a growing social media platform. So I'm trying to capitalize on it before it's too late. But TikTok's a weird one, man. It's, some videos I put up and they get no views, and then I'll put up a random video which have no meaning at all, literally like a kid getting out of my car dropping sushi. That was literally the video. And it got 400,000 views.
Yeah.
But then I'll put something up really, really good, like a good workout tip, and I won't get anything. And it's annoying, but, I guess anything you can do is keep posting and keep finding out what works and what doesn't work and keep changing and keep adapting. But my best advice for anyone watching this podcast or listening to it is use all the platforms and just try and put out as much content as you can that does provide value. But if you really want to focus on one channel more than the other, I say go for YouTube, because YouTube you can build the best audience with, because someone really gets to know you on YouTube compared to any other platform. Like I watch so many people on TikTok just because I'm trying to learn the platform, but I don't know who they are, and I just go to the next video. But if I watch someone on YouTube, you learn about them, you learn who they are, and you just get a much better connection.
Yeah, you've got a way bigger attention span on YouTube. The other thing that's massively underrated with YouTube, I think, is the fact that it's a search engine, and Instagram and Facebook are not really search engines. And so, there's not people on Instagram searching, how do I lose fat, or is keto the best diet, or anything like that. And so with YouTube, you have the ability to do keyword research and find what people are looking for and then create content for shit that people are already typing in.
Yeah, so true. I completely forgot about that, but it's such a huge, that's such a huge factor, Yeah, like exactly what you said. People, what is the keto diet? They type that in, and that's exactly the content that they get if you've done a video on that.
Yeah. Another thing I picked up there when you were talking about that, because it is frustrating. And I guess one of the big barriers I feel for people is you kind of get told, and you hear Gary Vee and stuff like that, and it's like create 100 bits of content a day, and you're trying to run a business and you're trying to manage your life and do everything else. And there's a mindset block there for people where unless they're getting an immediate return, they don't feel like it's a good investment of their time, and there's not enough patience there. And what I'm hearing from you when you're saying that, like you're on TikTok at the moment, you're a busy dude, man. You're running multiple businesses. You got a shitload going on. and you're taking the time to learn TikTok yourself and watch other people's stuff. Because one thing that needs to be stressed to people is that that's the fucking game. Like, you have to learn, you have to be a student. And if your attitude is to go out and add value to people first and foremost, then spending that time is never wasted on that platform, and it feels like less of a chore because you're trying to connect with people, you're trying to add value. But I feel like too many people go out and initially just try and sell their shit straight away, and if they can't get reach or whatever, there's no patience there because they're not seeing the money in their bank account straight away. So what I picked up from you there is that you've been very patient and you've invested a lot of time in that. That's come back around now, but it's a key point for people to understand if they're starting out, right?
Yeah, definitely. Patience is super important, and don't just go in there from the start trying to sell someone, because why will they buy from you? They need to, you need to give them some value first.
Yeah, that's right. Bro, people see the big business that you've got online now. How many customers do you have online roughly? Like how many people do you service?
At this point in time, I'm not actually sure. All my clients are on subscription, but since 2007, we've had more than 130,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a lot of lives you've impacted, man.
yeah, definitely.
Do you, do you,
and,
th- like, do you weigh that up sometimes? Do you like really think about the ripple effect of that? Because it's funny, yeah, like we talk about the physique side of things, but when someone loses weight, yeah, they look better, but they also often, like we talked about, get more confidence. They become a better person. They go home, they be a better husband, a better wife, a better spouse. They perform better at work. They're a better friend. When you actually think about the ripple effect of impacting 130,000 people, that's not just individual people, man. That's families and communities.
so true. Yeah, exactly what you said. It has a massive ripple effect. And honestly, just hearing the feedback that we get from some of our clients, we get emails, we get DMs every single day of just, people just blown away that, how much we have just fully changed their life. If it's with their family or their confidence, even their work now, because of they've gone through a physique transformation. We even get people sending us videos of themselves crying, just thanking us, and when we see that, it's pretty touching, just to know that we've helped someone, who's probably been going through a hard time, could never lose weight, could never get the results that they want, and then now they've just had this massive breakthrough, and it makes everything worthwhile when we get those kind of testimonials come back in.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome stuff, man. For those people, like speaking on that topic there, people who, are maybe looking at doing a transformation at the moment, or have tried a bunch of stuff in the past. I mean, it's the online fitness space is really interesting because it's super conflicting. There's so much information out there. A lot of it's shit information. And a lot of it is good information, but you can find two arguments with very smart people on either side of the argument, and both of them are right. And so a lot of the time people get paralyzed. What's your advice to someone? Like, what are kind of the key pillars, I guess, towards actually achieving a result? Because you're in incredible shape yourself. Obviously, you've maintained that shape for years now. But people battle, man. They battle to get started. They battle to maintain a result. What are kind of the key pillars, having coached 130,000 people? What would you say are like the 1, 2, or 3 most important things for actually getting a transformation?
Yeah. Honestly, it comes down to diet. Diet is the biggest factor, but the biggest thing about the diet is the client needs to follow a diet that they love and they enjoy, because at the end of the day, adherence is the actual biggest key. And if you can't stick to the diet, if you can't adhere to the diet, then you're not going to get the results. And that's the reason why people follow. It's because they simply follow a diet for maybe 2 weeks, and then fall off. It's not until you actually adhere to the diet, stick to the diet, and hold out for 1 month, 2 months, that's when you see the real results. So with all my clients, I always say you need to follow a diet with foods that you love and that you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So all my meal plans are 100% personalized and based around the foods that my clients love and enjoy. So for example, if they don't like salmon, they're not going to get salmon in their meal plan. Like, I don't want to force anyone to eat something that they don't eat, that they don't enjoy. And also, it's very important that if you struggle, with cravings or with binging or stuff like that, then it's probably important for you to go on a diet that eliminates all that stuff. So I'm a big fan of the keto diet, and I promote the keto diet to a lot of my clients because I think it is the superior diet for fat loss. Now, if calories are equal on a keto diet versus a diet that contains carbohydrates, fat loss will be identical if the calorie deficit is identical.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I think the keto diet is so superior and the reason my clients get better results on the keto diet is because keto has so many amazing benefits. When when you're on the keto diet, there's many benefits. For example, your kidneys don't hold on to any salt and sodium because low levels of insulin. So you flush out a lot of water weight. So usually within the first week of the keto diet, some of my clients lose 3 to 5 kgs, a lot of that being water weight. But that's super motivating and they're like, wow. So they really stick to the diet and they really step their training up and they really stick to their cardio because they've seen such a fast, such fast results in a short amount of time. Also, the keto diet, it blunts your appetite. You have no hunger and it takes away all of your cravings. Sometimes when people are on a diet that contains carbohydrates, and because you're dieting, your calories are low, so carbohydrates are somewhat low as well. But when you're getting a little bit of carbs, it actually makes you hungrier and your cravings come out. And then eventually gets to a point where you break. But when you're on a keto diet, most of my clients find that their hunger's gone, they've got no cravings, and they can stick to that diet. Also, when you're on the keto diet, your energy's high, it's always sustained, you're really clear mentally, you have good cognition, mental focus. When you're on a diet that is low in carbohydrates, but still getting some, sometimes you've got high energy, then you feel lethargic. High energy, then lethargic. Also, another benefit of the keto, I find if someone's following a diet where they have carbohydrates, they stick to it, and then maybe they'll go out with their friends, and they kind of think, oh, tonight I'll just have a burger, it won't hurt. Or maybe I'll just get some fries with dinner, it'll be all right, just once. And they break it more often. But when my clients are on keto, because there's that line in the sand, oh no, I can't have that because it'll kick me out of ketosis, they actually stick to the diet better. So they normally just end up ordering like a steak or something lean. So for the most part, they stick to the diet because there's more strict rules. So even though fat loss would be identical if calories were identical in both scenarios, I think my clients do get better results on keto because more of them stick to it, they feel better, and they don't have the hunger and they don't have the cravings for them to go and binge and break the diet. But I think a lot of people do the keto diet wrong, and that's why they don't enjoy it, and that's why they don't get the benefits from it. So when most people think keto, they just think no carbohydrates. And when you do that, you just feel terrible. So when you do the keto diet properly, yes, you have to remove all the carbohydrates, but you have to put the dietary fat back in there. So your body runs off that fat and ketones.
Yeah, another important point with that as well is making sure that you're taking in good quality fats if you're doing it as well. Because a lot of the times I see people when they jump onto the keto wagon, and it's just loading themselves up with shit food, and like you say, like as long as the calories are there, like weight loss is, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose the weight. But there's been a narrative in the fitness industry in particular, I feel like, that it's just calories in, calories out. And on a weight loss level, that's pretty true. But like, not all calories are equal in terms of the feedback that it gives your body and the way that the actual function within the body. So one thing that I think is changing with the keto landscape is that people are moving towards cleaner keto because people are getting more educated on it as well, which is an important point.
Yeah, definitely. Because, it's so important. The foods that you do eat, it affects your training. It does affect your energy level. Yes, it is about calories in versus calories out. But if you're eating food that makes you feel sluggish and tired and bloated and you've got no energy to train, then you're going to be burning less calories because you have less energy output. So it is calories in versus calories out, but also the calories that you do consume should be good calories,
as much as possible. Yeah.
As well. And so you have better energy, so you have longer lasting energy, because all those things do add up.
Yeah, that's right. How do you, I know that you cycle, and what about in terms of going on and off ketogenic diet? I know that people kind of tend to they don't do it properly when they go out of it. So, I mean, from my personal experience, I've been keto, I've done paleo, I've been high carb, I've done all sorts of stuff over, sort of the last decade. And like you said, I guess the big thing that's coming through there is to understand that whatever you can adhere to the most is the best diet for you. And you feel like a lot of your clients, when it comes to ketogenic diet, adhere to it better because it eliminates almost every snack option. So that's a key point. But when it comes to cycling off it, or people chop and change, and I think it's the same that what you were talking about with social media before, where you were like, people start something here, or they do a little bit there, and they don't see the result, then they jump over here. It's the same with dieting, and they kind of never stick with something. They don't have the consistency to stick with something long enough, whether it's keto or whether it's whatever else. How do you manage that? Because I know that you jump between diets quite a bit. You will go through a bulking phase, and you'll be high carbohydrate, but then you'll go through a ketogenic diet when you're stripping. How do you do that?
Yeah. And that's definitely true. I think people don't actually give it enough time to follow a certain diet. They maybe do keto for a week. Oh, no, I don't feel good. That's it. Like, you actually have to commit to it and be on it for a decent amount of time to see how you actually feel and see how your body reacts to it. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of variety. So I love switching things up. So I'll literally go the complete opposite. So, I'll go a keto diet, zero carbs, only trace carbohydrates from vegetables and stuff. And my fat intake will be, 250 grams minimum. Then I'll do the complete opposite, a low-fat diet, but my carbohydrate intake will be 500 to 600 grams daily.
Do you slowly build that up and build into that, or do you just go straight into that?
I just literally switch into it, but I do keep the calories. So, for example, if I just finished 3,500 keto diet and I go straight into carbs, I'll go 3,500. So the calories match. But obviously, when I go to the high carb diet, my fat intake goes right the way down, just so calories still match. And yeah, I love both. I know that I don't feel good on low carbohydrates. I feel good on super high carbs, and I feel good on keto.
Yeah.
But when I go low carbs, that's when I feel tired, I feel lethargic, and I don't have energy. So for me personally, it's either very high carbohydrates or very high fat and low carbs.
Because if you're low carbohydrate, I mean, I guess, again, it comes back to what you feel best on. And the best thing that you can do is actually be self-aware and understand your energy levels and pay attention to the feedback that your body's given you. But when you're in that low carb state and you're not in a ketogenic state, you're not getting the benefits of either.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so you're cutting out all the energy source from your carbohydrates, but then you're not getting the energy from your fat. So you kind of just find yourself in a bit of a no man's land. And like you say, from an energy perspective, that can be pretty shitty.
Yeah.
What about mindset, bro? Because obviously a big part of business success or getting anywhere in anything comes back to the thoughts that you have. And you've created a huge amount of success for yourself in business, but also you have in fitness as well. Like you've maintained an incredible physique for decades, and you've done a lot of stuff in bodybuilding. You've been to all the top shows. You traveled around to all the Arnolds and done all that kind of cool stuff. You've been sponsored by some great brands. What are the biggest things that you see that hold people back in terms of mindset? And what are the biggest shifts that you've had to make in order to get the success that you've had?
Mindset is literally everything. Dream it, believe it, achieve it. I think most people don't believe in themselves enough. And when they don't believe in themselves enough, they don't have the confidence to do anything. They want to start a YouTube channel, and that's where it gets to. They want to start a YouTube channel, and that's it. But they don't believe in themselves enough to actually start. And honestly, the hardest thing is actually starting.
Yeah.
But once you've started, it's all easy from there.
Yeah, momentum's a huge thing, eh? Once you get that momentum, it's easy. But that's with anything. That's with diet. That's with business. That's with achieving any sort of goal. That you got to get that initial momentum going. But like you say, how do people get the confidence though? Like, have you always had that? Are you someone that's always just dived into stuff head first and just had a crack and not been afraid of failure? Or like, what's your relationship with failure and fear around that type of stuff?
Yeah, I guess I've always been, just always give it my best shot. If you fail, you fail. If you don't, then you succeed. There's a good quote from, I think it was Michael Jordan, but you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So if I want to achieve something, but I'm afraid that I won't, so I don't even attempt it, then I failed anyway. So
Exactly. It's the guaranteed way to fail is to not start.
exactly. So I think you just have to believe in yourself, believe it is possible, anything is possible, and then give it your best shot.
Mm. Do you visualize or do anything like? Do you have any techniques or routines that you implement on a daily basis around kind of building that self belief or like kind of visualizing your future? Are you someone who is strict in routine like that, or are you more about just getting in and doing the work and letting the rest take care of itself?
Yeah, I always visualize. I visualize everything in my life. I visualize what I'm trying to achieve in the future, and I always work towards whatever I'm visualizing at the time. And it all comes down to the effort and the energy that you put in to try and achieve whatever it is. I think Tony Robbins said this. It's not um, I want to lose. For example, someone dieting. It's not I want to lose weight. It's I must lose weight. It's when your wants became a must. That's when you actually achieve stuff. Because most people just go out there wanting to achieve that. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to achieve that. But when that want becomes a must, like I must achieve that, you pretty much you find the solution eventually
Yeah.
because you do whatever it takes to get there.
It's a really good point because I find a lot of the time when it comes to taking action on stuff, whether it's building a business, losing weight, whatever it is, people are either like pain is a great motivator, right? And pain's the greatest motivator. And often it takes people to get their back against the wall for them to take action. So either you're in a financially strapped situation where you've got no choice but to put your YouTube channel out there and get on with it, or you're in a situation where you've got your health so bad and you're so low that you've just got nothing to lose, so you have a crack. But like, how you've got success, how do you keep that fire flamed? Like, because it's very like it's so easy when you get a little bit of success and things get comfortable to relax. How do you keep on top of that for yourself? Because you seem like you're still such a driven guy. You seem like you're still full noise, like you've got big visions and big goals, but realistically, like you could sit back and do bugger all most of the day if you wanted to.
I think most people try and chase success where they might do whatever to try and reach that success, but that whatever might not be what they actually love and enjoy.
Mm,
So I think the most important thing, more than success, is to do the job or to do what you actually love and enjoy. Because if you do what you love and enjoy, then you'll do well regardless. Where I think most people just think of success, how do I get success? Okay, I can do this and this, but this and this is not what they actually like.
yeah.
So they don't have the motivation to do it for 10 years plus, and they eventually fizzle out because it's too hard. But if they actually focus all their time and energy into something they loved and enjoy, it doesn't become too hard because you actually love and enjoy it, and you just want to work harder and work harder and work harder.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like the measure of success depends what your measuring stick for success is, right? You're saying that the ultimate success is happiness, but most people are looking at societal success, like you've got the big house and the car and whatever else, and you can have both, but understanding that you can be rich and really unhappy, and there's plenty of multimillionaires out there who end up taking their own lives because they don't have that fulfillment and that happiness.
Yeah. And I think most of the time, I could be wrong, but most of the time it's because they're doing a job that they don't love, they don't enjoy. Maybe it's brought them success, yes, but I honestly believe the most important thing is to do what you love and do what you enjoy, regardless of the pay. Because if you do what you love and you do what you enjoy, it doesn't seem like work. You're just doing what you love and enjoy. And if you do what you love and enjoy, that's when you have the passion for it. And you can do that for 10, 20, 30, 40 years plus. But if you're doing something where you hate waking up and you hate going to work, that's not a life to live, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's very hard to outwork the guy who absolutely loves what he's doing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and if it comes back to, if there's someone, if you're competing against someone who just absolutely wakes up and wants to get and rip into that thing, and you're like half into it, you're just never going to compete. And obviously, hard work is a measuring stick, along with strategy to actually get results and whatever it is. So I agree with you on that. I think a lot of the time, um, we get one crack at life, and you can spend all your time doing stuff that you don't like, or you can try and organize your life in a way where you spend the majority of your time doing things that you care about, that you feel is impactful.
Yeah.
And with that comes, an energy, which is the passion. But in the receiving end of that is a lot of fulfillment when you're doing good work. And like you, bro, like you love fitness, but you also get, on the flip side of loving what you do, you're also impacting a lot of people. And with that comes a great deal of fulfillment because it's bigger than you.
Yep. So true.
What
And
about,
honestly, like
sorry.
what I do, I don't look at it as work. Um, yeah, I swear on my life, if I was a trillionaire, I would still wake up and do exactly what I do right now. I wouldn't quit what I do because I love it.
Yeah.
I would do it without pay. It's what I enjoy. So I
Yeah.
think that's why I've been so consistent for all these years.
Yeah, you couldn't do it otherwise. And I love that, man.
Get up and do what I love to do.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. I think that's awesome. I got a lot of respect for you for that. And for anyone who's out there doing that, I think everyone's trying to find that. One of the hard things is that there's a narrative with passion where it's like, I spoke to someone the other day and they had a really good framework for it. They said there's two ways to go about living a passionate life, and one of them is that you do what you love and you turn that into a career and a passion, or you go out and you earn money to spend that money doing the things that you're passionate about. And a lot of people, like, you're very lucky in the sense that you found your passion early and you just fell into the gym and you love it. A lot of people go their whole lives not following that and not finding what it is, and then feeling like a failure because they didn't do that. So it's an interesting conversation around that as well.
Yeah, it definitely is.
What about people see your success now, bro, the big business and stuff, is what I was going to ask you before. What about the failures? There must have been some failures along the way. There must have been some tough times. It can't have been all smooth sailing on the way up. Can you talk about some of the times where you've kind of kind of made mistakes, or you've felt like you're not going to, like, it wasn't all going to work out, and kind of how you've dealt with those situations? Because business is a war of attrition, and much like fitness, where you fall off the wagon, it's how quickly you can get back on and not be distracted by that little blip. What's your business, your trajectory in business been like, and what are some of the hardest times that you've experienced?
Yeah, there's always ups and downs, man. And I guess the thing is to just keep pushing through those downtimes, because if you keep pushing, there's eventually going to be an upside. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. And we've done some amazing months, but there's also been some months where we have struggled. But the key is, if it's not working, try something different, change things up. And if you just keep trying, you'll eventually find a way, And for example, this, whole coronavirus thing that happened, we were thinking, oh, what the hell are we going to do? This is going to affect us big time. But it didn't, because right away we just came out the door and we're like, okay, no one can go to the gyms. Everyone's stuck at home. Everyone needs home workouts. So literally within 3 or 4 days, I filmed so many different home exercise videos, just so I could create a whole home workout section in my app. So now we switched all my clients over to home workouts, and we're getting so many more people sign up, because they now needed a home workout to follow. So there's always ways around it. And I guess in every business, business, you will find, your hard times, but just keep pushing forward and don't stop, and eventually you'll get through.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, failure is part of the journey, right? And as long as you've got the lens where you're learning from those failures and not putting your head in the sand when they happen, then you're going to be better equipped. One thing that I find as well, which is an important thing to touch on, I think, is that if you've got a goal and you're going for it, like building a business, and you get a year along the track and that business doesn't work out, people feel like they've failed, but you've never failed, because you've got a year of learning under your belt. You've got a whole bunch of new skill sets. You've probably got new networks. You've got so much growth there to apply to the next thing. And so, like, in that regard, as long as you're doing and not sitting on the sidelines, you can never fail.
Yeah, so true. You're only failing if you are doing nothing and sitting on the sideline.
Yeah.
But if you try a business and it doesn't work out, that's not a fail. Exactly what you said. It's a learning process.
So what is it that drives you then? Like, what's your kind of why? Like, with where you're at now, where you've got your success, are you striving to get to like a monetary goal? Is it about reaching a certain amount of people? Like, what are your goals for yourself and for Josef Rakich Fitness and the ventures that you have now?
Yeah, I guess bit of everything, to be honest. Like there definitely is the monetary goal, but I guess the number one, goal that I've had for a long, long time is to one day help more than 1 million people worldwide, and then after that help 10 million people worldwide. And I want to be a household name, just like Weight Watchers. I think they've done amazing in the weight loss section. So I want to become mainstream. I want to be like Weight Watchers, and I really want to dominate the market. And I know it's possible if I keep putting in the work and keep putting in the hours and continue loving what I do.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, because even just talking about that, like you mentioning Weight Watchers, I feel like a lot of people in the fitness space judge other people in the fitness space because they might have studied a certain thing and they feel like they've got more knowledge than someone else or whatever it is. But some of the people, and people like Weight Watchers and stuff like that, get slammed a lot because it's such a simple kind of concept. But the reality is, the true measure of that is how many lives they've touched. And like, if you've helped someone get off the couch and get active, it doesn't really matter what formula you've used to do that. And I feel like there's so much judgment in the fitness industry between trainers and stuff, and like, oh, I've done this course, so I know more than you. But if you've only given that knowledge that you learned in that course to one person, and someone else has 10 times less knowledge than you, but they've got 2,000 people moving, then that person's had a bigger impact.
Yep. That's such a big problem as well. I see that all the time. Honestly, man, sometimes it comes down to the basics in order to get someone to change their life. And that's the system that Weight Watchers have done. They've put people on a calorie deficit diet and got them to exercise, and they're getting results. But then there's so many people, on YouTube and Instagram. Some of them get too technical, and you can't have too much protein. It'll kick you out of keto, and because of gluconeogenesis, the protein will get converted into glucose, and your body will run. And like, it gets too technical, where sometimes they take a dig at everyone else, but everyone else in the bigger scheme of things is actually helping more people because they're not getting caught up in all these little technicalities and details, and they're focusing on the bigger picture. And the majority of the world and the majority of my clients, they want to lose weight. They're not, trying to get on stage. They're not trying to get 3% body fat or whatever to compete. Someone who wants to get like that needs one-on-one coaching and adjustments here and there. But for the majority of people, majority of my clients, they want to lose weight, feel better about themselves, and just be in good shape. So when it comes to that, it's pretty much just following a calorie deficit diet that they can stick to. Most people don't know what that is, but I can provide those tools for them, and Weight Watchers does the same.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's one of those things where, like, if you can give people, you don't need to give people everything. You need to give them the simplest and fastest way for them to get a result in a healthy way. And I think a lot of people are in the online space, and particularly with business and stuff like that as well. People are trying to add steps and trying to confuse things and make them, they think that the right thing to do to make themselves seem like more of an expert is to complicate shit. But what that does is the opposite of what the client needs. And if you can strip all that shit away and simplify the journey for people, then you're adding the most value.
Yeah. Because for a long time, when I first started out, I wasn't getting the clients that I wanted. So I thought I had to learn more. And so I was learning more about the science and trying to get smarter and smarter. But I knew the basics. I knew how to get results. So I didn't need to learn all this complicated stuff. Like, that wasn't going to make my business any better, and it wasn't necessarily going to help me, transform thousands and thousands more lives. What really helped me transform more lives is simplifying it for my clients, giving them something easy and simple to follow, and then getting them to stick to that.
Yeah. Just talking about the stuff with the online space, have you had to deal with much hate and like putting yourself out there in the way that you do? You've got so many followers and there's so much engagement around a lot of the stuff that you put out there. Have you had to deal with a lot of negativity? And if so, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. I think it's a funny place, man. There's a lot of negative people out there. I don't know why. But I'll definitely deal with a lot of hate on all platforms, to be honest, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. I honestly don't understand it, man. Like, I can't imagine myself being so angry or so upset with someone to get on my phone or to get on my laptop and just like type something negative. I hate blah, blah, blah. Like, I just think, I feel sorry for them. Like, I can't imagine myself doing that. I just feel like they must be in not not a good place to put that energy out there. But yeah, I don't I don't take any weight on it. I just try and ignore it and try and look past it. I think a lot of people do get caught up and they do get their feelings hurt, but at the end of the day, it's just a keyboard warrior behind their phone or behind their laptop, just speaking their mind. In real life, they probably wouldn't say that to you, but because they're hidden, they can. But yeah, I nothing really affects me now. I just feel sorry for the person who
Yeah.
actually says a negative comment.
It's funny because as you were saying that, it reminded me of one of those things. Like, I don't know if you've seen it. There's a lot of photos of it online, but I think it's Michael Phelps in the Olympics, and he's swimming in the pool, and like he's number one, he's about to win the race, and then the guy who's coming second is like swimming and looking at where he is, and it's like winners only focus on the finish line, losers focus on who's winning, and essentially what you're saying is like you don't have time, and anyone out there who is sitting there is not going to be in a better position than you. Like people who have created success for themselves are not fucking sitting on Facebook and that trying to tear other people down. They're busy creating the life that they want for themselves. And so it's an interesting one, man. But I feel like a lot of people, particularly starting out, and I mean, I'm just putting my personal brand out there now, starting a podcast, doing stuff. I've built businesses behind the scenes and I'm putting myself out there for kind of like the first time. And it's one of those things I feel like a lot of people put too much weight on it and almost don't ever take action on their dreams because of the negativity that might come their way,
Yeah. But you're only going to be hated on by someone doing less than you. You're never going to be hated on by someone doing better than you. It's just, I don't understand it, man. Honestly, if they put all that time and energy as they do into hating and all this negative stuff, into bettering themselves and something positive, they would be so much happier.
Yeah.
They'll be so much better off.
Yeah.
Instead, for some reason, they choose to channel that into negativity because they think bringing that person down will make themselves better. Gary Vee, actually, he's got a good quote. He said, which is, referring to hating. He said he wants to build the biggest tower in the city by building the biggest tower in the city, where everyone else wants to have the biggest tower in the city by demolishing everyone else's tower.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think everyone just needs to focus on bettering themselves. But at the moment, too many people focus on bringing everyone else down to try and make themselves better, which is the wrong way to go about it.
Totally, man. I couldn't agree with you more there. What about how do you balance life outside of business, man? Like I know you're passionate about what you do, but entrepreneurship's a lifestyle for sure, and there's kind of no way around that. But I know that you like to travel. I think we initially connected when you went over to Thailand, and I dropped you some tips on what to do in Phuket because we'd been living there for a bit. You obviously like to travel, and you've got your nice cars and things like that. Like, what do you enjoy outside of business? What fills you up? What are your passions outside of what you do?
I guess I balance it. I balance it pretty bad. I love work, man, and like if I'm not training, if I'm not eating, if I'm not sleeping, or if I'm not spending time with friends or family, I don't watch TV. I work. Yeah. All my downtime, I literally work. I don't know. I struggle to just chill. If I have,
why is that? Is that because you feel like you're wasting your time, or just because you genuinely just love what you do so much?
I genuinely just love what I do. I don't feel like I'm wasting time. Like I just find it hard to chill. Like I don't have a start time for work. I don't have a finish time for work. I literally just work and don't stop. But the beauty of my job is I don't have a start time. I don't have a finish time. I don't have to be in a certain place, a certain office. So I'm very flexible. So I can train it whenever I want. If my mate wants to go for lunch, I can go for lunch. If my mate wants to go for dinner, I can go for dinner. If I want to go, on a date with my girlfriend, I can go on a date. I don't have certain time restrictions, and I can travel the world and work from wherever I am, as long as I got Wi-Fi and my laptop and my phone. But also traveling helps me because my business is based around creating content and putting out content. So when I travel, it allows me to get different content. It's not just a chest workout in the gym. Because sometimes in New Zealand, it is hard because I live here So I feel like all my content's in the gym. But when I'm traveling overseas, America or Thailand, I'm just because I'm in a different scene, it's easier for me to just get different content and make it interesting for people who follow me. So I think that's one of the benefits of my business. I'm flexible and I can work from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty important. What about on the financial side of things? Because New Zealand's a funny place like that as well. Like tall poppy syndrome's real in New Zealand, and I don't think we celebrate people's success enough. Like for me, I'm addicted. Like one of the most attractive attributes I find in a person is ambition, and I'm just naturally drawn towards people who are passionate about what they do and who have big ambitions and who want to push the limits and do stuff. Like I naturally gravitate towards, singers and artists and rappers and sportsmen and businessmen and people who are out there really having a crack at things. Um, what, how you've created a lot of financial success for yourself. Have you always had that? Have you had times where you've been where you've not had money, where you've been broke? Like, what has creating that financial freedom done for you in terms of the quality of your life? Because I feel like in New Zealand we're bad at talking about that stuff. I feel like if you make money, like there's a bad connotation towards it, and there's a lot of people in New Zealand, and just in general with negative money mindset. Have you run into that? And what's your mindset around money? Because it must have given you an incredible quality of life based on what you've created for yourself.
Yeah, we do have that tall poppy syndrome in New Zealand. I don't know why, man. I think other people should be motivated and inspired by that. Just like you are, just like I am. Like music artists, sportsmen, I'm inspired by them as well. I always, search up interviews on YouTube who have, sports people, music people who have been successful, just because I'm inspired by that. And that inspires me to go and do better. But here in New Zealand, sometimes, everyone wants to bring us down. But I guess, we can't let that get to us and we just have to keep moving forward. But the financial freedom, it has changed my life. It's allowed me to travel more. It's allowed me to, do more things that I guess I couldn't do, buy some things that I couldn't before. But I'm not an idiot when it comes to money. I don't just go and blow my money on stupid stuff. I do invest in certain things as well. So, and I have my dad to thank for that, because when it comes to investing, I've got no idea. No idea at all. So my dad has helped me with advice on, property and land and certain stuff to invest into. So I've taken his advice and he's helped me there.
Yeah. What about mentorship? Like, have you had mentors throughout your time in business? And I know that you built a big team with Josef Rakich Fitness, and but like, obviously no one does great things by themselves. So like, what's your opinion on getting mentorship and building that circle of people that can help you? Because I feel like your network is such an important aspect, but people try and tackle entrepreneurship and fitness and all this stuff by themselves so often.
Yeah, and that's the wrong way. Everyone thinks they have to be self-made, and I don't believe in self-made. It's everyone around you has some part that is attributed to your life and to where you get. Teamwork makes dreams work, and I couldn't have got to where I am by myself. Like, I'm not self-made. I've had my team to help me. I've had my dad to help me. So, like I just said before, I've made money, but I guess I'm not smart with money myself. Well, I'm not stupid and go and spend it, but I wouldn't know myself what to invest my money in.
Yeah.
But my dad is very smart with property and land. So I've listened to my dad's advice, and I guess he's mentored me on where to invest my money in. And then over the time, I've also had other mentors. The first gym that I ever worked at, there was a guy called Keith. He was definitely one of my mentors who changed my mind and how I think about things, and basically to get myself to believe that anything is possible if I put in the work, the time, the energy. And I have to admit that him, back in the day when I first started the gym, was a huge factor in the way that I think now. His son now works for me as my video guy.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And I guess I've had other mentors as well, not people who I actually know in person, but literally just people who I search on YouTube. For example, I might search Kobe Bryant interview, Elon Musk interview, and I don't know them, but I listen to their advice, and I guess all that information comes back to me, and I take them on as a mentor, even though they're not directly mentoring me.
Yeah.
I'm just stealing that information from YouTube.
Yeah, well, it's a great point as well, though, bro. Because if you're hungry, there's we're the luckiest generation ever in the sense that like whatever you want to know is at the touch of a fingertip. I can Google and learn how to build an online business. I can, you know, everything that we want to know is accessible within a few seconds. And you know, you can tap into. They say that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, but man, you can listen to books and podcasts and whatever it is and tap into that. And I like to try and learn, and I try and build that into my daily practice. Like I'm always trying to gain new skills and get inspiration from people who are way down the road from where I am and have sort of lives and have achieved things that I want to learn. Are you structured with your learning? Like, are you someone who, have you always read books and done podcasts and stuff like that? How do you learn? And like, has that always been a big part of you?
Yeah, so I can't learn from reading books. I don't know why. I'm just very bad at reading. I'm not bad at reading, but I just can't intake the information from reading a book.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with books, but not the best. The best way for me to learn is to listen and watch at the same time. For example, a YouTube interview on someone that I just searched up. That is the best way for me to intake that information. And I also find I need to be doing something else while I'm listening and watching that. So back in the past, when I have dieted and I've done cardio in the morning, I used to do cardio on the treadmill, just, a 40-minute, 30-minute walk. When I was doing that cardio, I would have my laptop on the treadmill and I'd be watching and listening to an interview of someone who I'm inspired by. And I literally could take that information in so good. Better than reading a book, better than just listening to an audio book, and better than listening and watching it if I was just sitting down at my computer.
Right.
So I'm just sitting down at my computer, I kind of drift off and I open tabs up and my mind's not there. But when I'm doing cardio, for some reason, because I'm doing cardio, I'm zoned in 100% to that interview. So visual and audio at the same time work best for me.
Yeah, that's cool. What's your, I guess, like if you had a couple of bits of advice that you wanted to pass on to people, like if you could be known for like a few lessons or a few bits of advice based on your experience and where you've got to with your life, whether it's passing it back to like yourself 10 years ago or to a young buck out there who's got big ambition but is just starting out, what are some of like the top 2 or 3 bits of advice that you would like to pass on?
Do what you love and love what you do. Don't be afraid of failure. Believe in yourself 100% and always give it 100% effort no matter what you do. And don't quit.
Yeah, there's the blueprint right there.
Yeah, and that's the blueprint. Yeah, honestly.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, don't be afraid of trying new things. Don't be afraid of failing. If you want something bad enough, you'll get it.
Yeah, that's true, man. Where can people look you up, bro? If they, I mean, you're everywhere on the internet, but it's at Josef Rakich on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yep, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter.
TikTok now.
TikTok now. Any social media platform you'll find me on. Just search my name, Josef, and last name is Rakich.
Cool, man. Well, I just want to say, firstly, thank you so much for giving up your time to have a chat. I know, I think particularly during this time now with all the madness that's going on with coronavirus and all the other stuff out there in the world at the moment, it's just important to have positive content and to have people who want to pass their knowledge down. And, you've got a lot of success that you've built for yourself, both personal life and in business. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to pass that on to other people. I know that there's a lot of value in what we've talked about, and I love your attitude and just your, your attitude towards life and the way that you get out there and attack it. I think it's really admirable. And I guess that's why I've been drawn to connect with you on this podcast. And I hope that, throughout coronavirus and through the rest of the year that your trajectory is really strong. And I look forward to following your journey and connecting with you more, man.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on here as well. And I really enjoyed this podcast. So it was good.
Oh, that's cool, man. Hey, last question for you. The name of this podcast, it's the Life Livers Academy, and it's kind of trying to connect people with the ideas and the inspiration and the mindsets to get out there and live life to the fullest. What does it mean to you to actually live life to the fullest?
To give nothing less than 100% in whatever you do. I think, every aspect in your life, give it 100%, whether it's spending time with your family, whether it's business, whether it's a gym. Always go 100% and give it everything that you have. And that's how I think you can live life to the fullest. Don't be afraid of attempting something, because if you do, you're only going to regret that later. And regret is the worst thing, man.
I love it. It's a great note to finish on. Josef Rakich, thanks so much for your time, brother.
Thank you very much for having me. Really enjoyed it.